Hey, 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 all you fellow 90s and early 2000s kids. It's time to take a look at what we all consider to be the definitive Clone Wars. Up yours, Feloni! No, I'm just kidding. We love you, Dave. We love you. But
That was him saying that, by the way, but just putting that in there.
I know, I know. In all seriousness, we love Tartakovsky as well, right?
We do love Genndy. We're Genndy guys. No
The
question.
Genndy guys.
We're Gendy's guys. We're Tartakovsky boys.
Oh God. So yeah, Dragon. So I have a really funny history with this show. I definitely watched the first season as it was airing. The funny thing is, I definitely don't remember watching it to the end because I really did not see the that General Grievous stinger, and I for sure didn't watch the second run of episodes. Honestly, Dragon, I think what happened was I probably only watched the first 10, like that first initial run. And I really liked it, but I just, it was, I don't know if you remember this, Dragon, but it was sort of hard to catch on Cartoon Network, if I remember it correctly.
Well, yes and no. It actually came on Cartoon Fridays. It started it off for a while.
Oh, that's right. Oh my
It
God.
came on, and basically, it kind of basically after it aired on there, it was available online and stuff, and that sort
Oh,
of
it
thing.
was available online. All right. Well, you see, I was a poor kid who did not have the internet at the time.
What I'm saying
So,
is, though, it aired like after it aired, then it would go online, so you kind of had both options.
gotcha. All right. Also, we have Atomic Beast in the comments. He says, Star Wars Clone Wars, better known as Samurai Jack in Space.
In
You're not wrong about
space.
Atomic Beast. You're not wrong. So, Dragon, I had a couple of friends in high school who, when Attack of the Clones came out, or I'm sorry, not Attack of the Clones, when Revenge of the Sith came out, Dragon, these people were stoked on Grievous, and I did not get it.
Like at all? I mean, didn't you look at him?
I mean, I got it from like a yeah, he's got a cool design, sure.
Yeah.
But I just feel like in the movie itself, God, I really wish I had this as a reference point, Dragon. This sets him up so well, and it kind of I honestly feel like this was a little bit ahead of its time as far as like nowadays we have stuff like WandaVision and all the live long day MCU stuff tying into each other. But Dragon, this honestly, if you think about it, this was kind of groundbreaking the way they did this, where the first run sort of introduced this big bad, like almost just gave us like a little taste of the big bad. The second run really makes us see what the big bad can do, and then it not only that, but it also leads directly into the third movie, like so much so that we can pretty much take the final shot of this and the first shot of Revenge of the Sith and just kind of line it up. I mean, barring animation styles, but still. So yeah, Dragon. This was an interesting experience going back and watching it. I do very much agree with the Samurai Jack in space of it all. I think it's beautiful to look at. Dragon, I will always prefer this animation style to the to Filoni Clone Wars. Like I'm sure that Filoni Clone Wars.
Says the man who's only watched that movie, which was not its best stuff.
Okay, I've seen more episodes than that.
Well, no, I really don't know, Tiki.
I've at least seen the stuff that you told me to look up for.
Yeah, like one episode of Mace Windu for the whole Boba Fett thing.
There we go. So I saw an episode.
Yeah, like an episode. You didn't get to the Hondo stuff.
Okay, well, my point being, Dragon, I'm more of a 2D guy than a 3D guy, right? I'm sure it improves, but narratively, I'm sure Filoni's is far superior, of course. Filoni, I feel like narratively very much a linchpin in Star Wars, of course. But yeah, Dragon, visually speaking, this thing is just so fluid, man. Just all the different things happening on screen at the same time. I remember that that as a kid was what really kind of drew me into this. It's kind of that rapid fire animation style that it had.
The animation is something to behold with this for sure.
Mhm. All right, so Dragon, what's some of your nostalgia? What are your overall kind of takeaways with this thing?
Well, yeah. So I remember this being advertised back in the day, and I was not really a Star Wars guy at that point. So I really just kind of I was kind of very arm's length with it. And again, I had Samurai Jack, so like, why bother going to Star Wars at this moment? I have Samurai Jack. I'm content. I'm all good.
Did you even realize it was from the same people?
No. I kind of, well, I mean, I never looked it up, but I kind of could feel it. Like, oh, this has to be this has to be Tartakovsky.
Yeah.
I didn't really have to look it up, but I mean, yeah, it's yeah, you're right. That thing, it's just sort of
It's
this.
funny that you mentioned that now because I feel like nowadays, Dragon, our mindset is like, oh, this is done by the same guy that did the thing that I like. I have to look up more of it.
But yeah, it's again, I was just, especially around the time of the prequels, I just I mean, I basically I got a little bit of the advertising kind of maelstrom that was, it works made primarily for Revenge of the Sith. That was the biggie. It was the big finale, all the Vader kind of coming back of it all.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I was honestly, I was by the time I was getting into the Star Wars of it all, and at least I was trying some of the Clone Wars on for size. It was by the time Filoni, came into the fray. I watched. I don't even know if I finished the first season of Clone Wars when it was airing way back when. I know I got to at least over the halfway point. Points I was there, just not to the very end. Either there, I watched the first. I know I got to all the Cad Bane stuff. That's always my big marker. Anyway, of course, now years later, after kind of really dive into Star Wars and everything, it's yeah, I love those. I love the Clone Wars that Filoni did. But yeah, I had gone back to this before, and of course, Disney Plus has provided us with the advent of basically taking the volumes. I mean, they were on YouTube, of course, but taking them and putting them all nicely in a little vintage section that we have now.
Okay, can you please explain to me how? Because I looked it up on Wiki, and I assume that the first 10 and the second 10 aired separately or something like that, right?
Well, I'll add some background. I'll get into it in a second.
Okay,
Trust
yeah,
me,
I'm very curious about that, Dragon.
All right, so anyways, it's just my thesis on the show more so. So this is an impressive bridging device for the prequel films, unequivocally. It doesn't. I mean, to me, it doesn't replace the CG Clone Wars. For me, my heart of hearts, but they're two very different shows. Make no mistake, two very different shows, and I like that. That this show, particularly, the 2003 one, it very much captures the war aspect of Star Wars really well. And it was like kind of the one ding you could take at times against the CG Clone Wars, where it was a little bit more character based and narrative based, where this one's very much the spectacle and kind of like it's basically everything that Attack of the Clones was trying for. It didn't land, but actually achieved it here, Look at all this action and battling and
pretty much, yeah.
Look at all those lightsabers.
And there's some character stuff in there too, but it's mostly the kinetic visuals, which is okay.
Yeah, I just feel here we accomplished a lot of that so much better. Where we kind of linger on moments. We built basically the way we build characters up is tremendous in this show. So this absolutely achieved what its goal was very impressively. So again, the animation, I want to beat the old dead horse, but it was great. It was amazing, and aided big time for the hype. Not that was necessarily needed because we're all very. So let's face it, you look at the prequel trilogy, we all want to jump to Revenge of the Sith. That's where all the good stuff is.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole you go into knowing, okay, we're going to follow Anakin Skywalker. We want the Darth Vader of it all. We want to know how he got in that suit.
I'm a Phantom Menace defender.
Well, what I'm saying is when you enter the Phantom Menace and we have Anakin Skywalker, you want to get to the end point, right?
I mean, that's fair, but there's a lot about Phantom Menace that I really enjoy. There's a lot I don't enjoy, but there's also a lot that I genuinely enjoy. So
my point is this greatly helped the hype wagon for Revenge of the Sith big time, and I think that's definitely a big feather this show has in its cap. And again, just I think Genndy absolutely kind of brought it's a no-brainer bringing Genndy Tartakovsky for this. So speaking of which, let me bridge into the background. Let me tell you how we get this puppy.
Okay.
All right, so it's not the most complicated story in the world. It's pretty much Lucasfilm. They reached out to Genndy Tartakovsky. Got him right. I want to say Samurai Jack started in 2001. I'm pretty sure. So at this point, they're probably about 2 seasons in, let's say. So Lucasfilm reaches out to Genndy because they were very impressed with Samurai Jack, as the rest of the world was. I mean, George Lucas, he loves Kurosawa films. He's very big on the samurai of it all, which, again, hence something that's been bled into very much so even now with The Mandalorian.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, of course, it's just kind of like a no-brainer. Like, hey, Kurosawa, Star Wars, George Lucas, Samurai Jack. Let's call him in. Let's do it. So the logic was, let's do a bunch of these micro episodes. It was more so like kind of like a mini kind of commercial bumper sort of thing, as in like, hey, you're watching on Cartoon Network, and hey, a little advertising for the Clone Wars comes on. So initially, it was much smaller than it was. It was going to be, it wasn't quite the mini epic.
Which is why the first few episodes feel very bite-sized, right?
I mean, in part, but what happened was when they were working just on like the brief commercial section of it, it's kind of like ads for episode 3 coming, because at this point we're bridging the two movies. Tartakovsky, they kind of saw what he's working with, and they kind of saw like I don't know if George Lucas directly hired Tartakovsky or if it was Lucasfilm, because what I want to say happened is that George Lucas saw Tartakovsky's work after they kind of reached out to him for the project. So, oh my god, we got to give him a series. This is amazing.
Yeah.
So that's when they kind of took like a minute chunk of animation to 3 minutes a pop, which basically got strung into a season of the minisodes, if you will, which then
it's
basically
kind of like a Joshua Thomas definition of a season, which I'm not complaining about.
Sure, and basically the idea is that I want to say the idea is that the first volume, if you will, the first volume of the first season. Here's the weird thing: is that it's technically in 3 chunks, but really it's 2. The way everyone watches, the way Disney Plus is
really weird.
I mean, it's simple. I prefer it into.
I'm sorry. I just kind of mentally, I was just kind of like, all right, I'm just going to do it in 2 chunks, but.
What I'm saying, like 2, honestly, like any way you break it, like the way it aired in 3 chunks, but it's always kind of seen as 2, because it's very simply seen in 2, because when it comes out, it spans from, I want to say, 2003 to 2005 for obvious reasons. That's when we get, the movie. So,
sure.
2003 is pretty much, that's the direct aftermath of Attack of the Clones, and by the end, it's the preamble for, it's the prologue for Revenge of the Sith.
Very much so.
That's pretty much the breakdown. So yeah, and of course, they kind of put that out there. Disney Plus is now collect. They put out the DVD volumes pretty much like that. Now, continuity wise, just to kind of tell you how that works. So technically, both this and Clone Wars could coexist with one exception and reference. Which the Grievous of it all kind of there's a complication, the Grievous thing, which is awesome, but when you think about it too hard, it's like, oh wait, that wouldn't fit if we want to keep everything.
Yeah, but you know what? I feel like they set up Grievous so well here that I almost like.
So, I give it a pass because I've always loved what we did with Grievous towards the very end.
It's great. It's great. I mean, it's like they really do an excellent job of kind of building him up to be like the most like horror movie style threat that we've ever seen in Star Wars. Keeping in mind this is a franchise that's kind of had a legacy of horror movie style villains.
Of course, the irony being Grievous, very cowardly character, the way when George Lucas got his hands on him.
Oh yeah.
He's always running away because that's his only role in the story.
Dragon, that's exactly my point. That's exactly my point when all my buddies were like, oh my god, General Grievous is awesome. I was like, really? You guys sure about that? But man, it's like if I would have seen this, I was like, I would have been right there with them, Dragon. I feel like I maybe would have still been friends with these people if I would have just watched this, Dragon. Maybe we would have found more common ground. Who knows? I'm getting way too existential about this, though. I'm sorry.
So anyway, so basically, if you want everything to work very simply, it's that, hey, season 7 of Clone Wars, which, by the way, Tiki, if you really wanted to, you probably could just jump into season 7 of Clone Wars. That's literally
what you've told me, yeah.
Because that pretty much works like
because it's basically just like kind of like a different point of view of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah,
right?
Basically, you're in Revenge of the Sith by season 7. That's pretty much the whole shtick.
I still want to kind of like go through it just for the Hondo of it all.
I'd recommend that. Obviously,
obviously to catch any Mando references that might come up. But yeah,
right. I mean, there's a lot of Bo-Katan before that point. You're probably going to. She's in the 7th, but I'm just saying there's a lot of Bo-Katan throughout. Anyway, so. So point being, like, again, because season 7 is pretty much you're in Revenge of the Sith, and this one clearly ends literally right at the top of Revenge of the Sith. You could have your cake and eat it too, just assume there's some time jumps in there. And again, like as I told you, like that first half is pretty much set before the Feloni show with the whole, the kind of the beginnings of things. Because Anakin, Clone Wars Anakin is pretty much at the top of this revenge. He has got the long hair. He doesn't have the Padawan ponytail anymore. So that's anyway. So irony. So the irony is this show kind of served as a pilot for the CG Clone Wars series in a weird way. Because
in some ways, yeah.
I mean, Filoni not being involved, mind you, but again,
I mean,
he made
it's a better
bones.
pilot than the theatrical movie is. Am I right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So again, it's kind of ironic that basically they were so impressed with this. Like, no, guys, just run with it. Like, let's get some people on this and let's just do it as a series. We love that. Just do something close to that. And again, changed up some things. Obviously, like for example, we gave the clone troopers personality. That was very much the Filoni series. We kind of a little bit of that. But again, we have like some really memorable moments that come from this. So all that said, let's just dive on in.
All right, so Dragon, I don't know how you want to break this down exactly. I think we're just going to go pretty freeform on it, right? Because I don't really think we can do like episode by episode, just because the episodes are so like bite-sized.
Well, I know that too. That's why we had a choice of volume, but we've opted to talk about the piece as a whole. And before I go into one last thing, just in case there's any uber Star Wars fans who are going to watch this later. So yes, fully aware that. This show again. This essentially was supposed to be in canon, but then the Clone Wars comes out, and then with the Disney acquisition, they're saying, the Filoni Clone Wars and all the movies.
Is that why it's in vintage?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, that makes sense.
I'm like 90% certain of that.
It also just to hype it up, folks. Dragon and I, we have been combing through that little Star Wars vintage tab, and it's not all great. Those Ewok films are, I'm not going to lie, they're pretty bad, but damn, Dragon, they have a charm to them. They have a charm to them.
I love that they exist. I don't like them, but I love that we have access to them. I love that. And that's what I'm saying. Even though, that's what I said. So retroactive, everyone builds their own continuity. So I'm saying this also has as far as I'm concerned, this begats the Clone Wars series that we get. And again, with that Grievous exception, everything happens. I still say it all works, but that's just...
I can accept anything that happens in this way more than I can accept Jabba the Hutt's son or Ahsoka constantly calling R2 R2.
Yeah, you really got something against Road of the Hutt in that movie.
All he led to was like burp and fart jokes. I don't know. I mean, I love the Hutts. You know me. I'd love to see like a grown-up Road to the Hutt, Godfather type movie. Like, I'd be all the fuck over that. But anyways, neither here nor there.
So
imagine if Road to the Hutt showed up to claim the throne in the Book of Boba Fett show.
That'd be crazy again, Rhoda.
Right?
But yes. Okay. Yeah, so let's just start things out. Let's talk about kind of just the overall, again, the setting of things. So again, we're in the thick of the the Clone Wars beginnings, kind of post Attack of the Clones.
I mean, I hate to keep hammering on about it, but when you say the setting, all I can think of is Dragon, Revenge of the Sith opening title screen ! War. That's the setting. It's very much one of the most, outside of maybe like Rogue One. Actually, this and Rogue One have a lot of DNA in common with each other.
Yeah, I mean we do more of a battlefield here than I think we can open Rogue One with, perhaps.
No, but battlefield is a great word for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Because the first epic shot that we have is like Yoda riding on kind of an ostrich horse.
Oh my god, I love that shot. That shot stuck out in my childhood.
Yeah. That's the thing. We're absolutely diving into more of the war vibe, just kind of with the Clone Wars, just like seeing what the heck that means, which is a lot more exciting, just kind of seeing things get kicked off. Yeah, so we have like the charging army shot, which now we're all sorts of used to thanks to Infinity War, but this is back when it was new.
No, and that's the thing, Dragon. It bears repeating that it's pretty groundbreaking to see so many lightsabers on screen at the same time. Laser blast, just like the kinetic energy on display here for a 2D show is just kind of insane.
And again, very much in great connection to Tartakovsky's influence, I'm sure, with just seeing Samurai Jack go up against all those Beetle battle.
Oh yeah,
drones.
absolutely.
and everything. That's what I'm saying. These battle scenes, there's kinetic energy. There's also really creative use of the force. Just talk some of the, just in general, like some of the action scenes. For example, one that really stood out to me: Kit Fisto. You know Kit Fisto.
Yeah, no, of course, of course. I mean, just generally speaking, I love how we get, a lot of these kind of like background, like in Phantom Menace. It's like, hey, who the hell's that weird looking guy? And they get a chance to shine here, Dragon. A lot of them do.
Yeah, again, Kit Fisto's big thing is that, he pretty much, I forget if he cut off C-3PO's head or if he, in that movie, but the point being, like, going up against C-3PO and he does the smile after he does whatever he does. That's
okay, I'm sorry. We need to just, I'm going to jump ahead, Dragon, because I'm going to forget to bring it up, and it's worth, like, not burying the lead on. The reveal of C-3PO's gold plating is nothing short of extraordinary.
Like, I would forget that. Come on.
Dragon, I can't. I don't love Anthony Daniels. I really don't, from what I've heard of him. But I can't emphasize enough how I really think C-3PO is, like, if I had to pick just one, like, genuinely, he would probably be my favorite Star Wars character. I mean, just everything with him just lands for me.
We use him as a decoy earlier in the thing too.
Yes, yes.
Could you get my flowing cape or my coat or whatever it was? Oh, sure. Princess Padme.
C-3PO is like the Alfred of the Star Wars universe. You can't do him bad.
That is true.
like very rarely does C-3PO show up. I know there's people that disagree with me on this. I totally know there's people that disagree with me on this. But for me, it's like, even in a bad movie, very, very rarely can C-3PO show up and it's not a good time.
True. Let's see. So circling back to, again, Kit Fisto, like in Mon Calamari. Mon Cala. Sorry, I keep thinking of the Mon Calamari. It's all the shorthands. So anyway, so Mon Cala, we have like the undersea battle, like a lightsaber underwater.
I'm sorry, can I say one more thing about C-3PO?
We're going to get to it later, but by all means, do it now.
Okay, so I love how, he's wearing that undercover disguise. And then the little bit where C-3PO's like, to Anakin Skywalker, like, oh, you probably don't recognize me, Master Anakin, because I'm wearing this undiscovered disguise. And that bit totally reminded me of the all-time greatest C-3PO bit. The whole, like, Master Solo, it's been so long. You probably don't recognize me because of my red arm. All right.
C-3PO, you look different. Oh yeah, it must be my ingenious disguise.
I love that quirkiness about C-3PO, that he's like hyper intelligent and yet he doesn't comprehend like basic stuff like that.
Yep.
Anyways.
Yeah, so Mon Cala, again, we have some great underwater sequences.
Yes, like this is I mean, I would say, including Mandalorian, this is like the best Mon Calamari stuff we've ever seen, right?
I mean, like, this is full of. We went to some place that wasn't Mon Cala, so we didn't even go there in Mando. See, Mon Cala is completely underwater. So
no, you're right. We saw Mon Cala, but
yeah. Yeah, so we're fully, but you're right though. It is like, I mean, compare like going full on there. Here's the thing: Mon Cala, even the CG Clone Wars, it kind of bores me. Being underwater too long bores me. This is not boring me. That's the difference. Because I get really bored when we go to Mon Cala.
Yeah, it very much. It kind of reminds me of the the underwater sequences from Phantom Menace. The kind of there's always a bigger fish sequences.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, here we jazz it up so well. We're like, Kit Fisto is like, he's deflecting blasts in these giant like undersea, ships, and like, and then we have like the Mon Calamaris, like they're giant, like kind of essentially armored shellfish destroyers. Awesome. So let's talk some. So here's some created characters that again are kind of big in the other Clone Wars show. They get created here. Let's talk about Asajj Ventress. How do you feel about Ventress?
Oh man, she's great, man. She's got a great presence to her. I mean, she's just so dedicated. I really wish we would have seen her in live action at least once.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, maybe there's time. I don't know. Maybe one of these days.
Does she stick around? Like, could she technically be in the Mando timeline? Do you
I
know?
gotta be honest. I can't remember how ambiguous her. If she had a death that
Okay,
was ambiguous, kind of like what we have here. It's kind of ambiguous. I don't know how ambiguous.
gotcha.
I can't remember if she. I know she goes away. I don't remember. She has an arc. I don't remember if that arc included her dying. There's a lot
Uh
that happens in 7 seasons, Tiki.
huh.
So, but yes, so Adventures, though, here's what I like. In her introduction, what we do here very cleverly is that we parallel her with Anakin, with Dooku as the master versus
Yeah.
Obi-Wan. And of course, Dooku very much is the inverse of Obi-Wan. I love that, she's kind of being put through her paces, kind of going from Padawan to Sith in her own sense there. I love like she's auditioning pretty much with the Jedi lightsabers against Dooku. Dooku was beyond awesome in this.
Yep. I've never been a big Count Dooku fan, but you're right. You're right. This is like by far the most cool I've ever seen him. And granted, I haven't really seen him in Clone Wars at all, so I'm sure he's good there too.
Yeah,
But
man, voiced by Corey Burton in both, which is the perfect
uh-huh.
voice for him.
That's just the perfect voice, just because I feel like Corey Burton is just the go-to guy. Where it's like, if it's an irreplaceable actor that you just can't get Corey Burton. He's like a magic trick dragon.
That he is. That he is.
Anyways,
My favorite I think the coolest thing Dooku does, and I don't think I've ever seen this in the other one. This is amazing. I love Dooku cutting the lightsaber in half mid battle. Like that to me is beyond awesome. Like,
Dooku is just like, he's basically just like flexing this whole time. He's just like super in control.
Plus, he does like the float down. We rarely see the float down. It's like he's hovering down. Yeah. So anyway, so I love that we're kind of setting we're setting Ventress on a path against Anakin, which is going to have a wonderful kind of payoff. We'll get to that momentarily. Let's see. So here's something. Let's talk Dirge, man. Oh, I'm saying that right, Dirge, because not really a chatty character. So Dirge and the IG speeder bikers.
Yeah, Dirge is an interesting character where I feel like he's almost kind of like at least just based on his presence, he almost kind of feels like a warm up to Grievous.
He's very all the stuff with Dirge and his design and everything is very Akira-esque, didn't you?
Yeah. It's, I gotta be honest with you, Dragon. I don't love it, just because to me it's like almost like maybe a step too far into the sci-fi for Star Wars.
I feel I think we had a bit of that later. Not with Dirge particularly. I think some later stuff I felt we went too sci-fi with.
Okay. I just feel like Dirge, it's like he was fine. I just I don't think he stood out as much as the already established villains did.
So Atomic Beast in the comments here says the Dirge bike scenes were very intense. Yes, they were. And I thought this is what I'm talking about. This is why I'm not bothered by the sci-fi with Dirge. I thought this was like a great example of like, hey, let's take something very regal and medieval. Like, hey, let's take jousting. We're gonna put on like our sci-fi motorcycles.
Basically, let's take jousting and mix it with Mad Max, essentially.
Yes, and with a sci-fi edge, and I thought that was really cool. Basically, here's my favorite thing about Dirge. Okay, Dirge is. I love that we have a bounty hunter, like a bounty hunting threat for a Jedi that cannot be delimbed. That's Obi-Wan's go-to move. We know this now, especially after Revenge of the Sith. At the time, maybe folks in his go-to. Well, no, we always know this. Just look at. It's obviously it's a thing run through Star Wars. You can look at Obi-Wan in New Hope. He's cutting guys' arms off in bars. That's what he does. Yeah. Obi-Wan's go-to move is to delimb a guy, and he cuts this guy to pieces, and he's fine because he's tentacles and Akira stuff.
God. Yeah, I don't know, Dragon. Like I said, the tentacle thing is kind of like I agree that the biking stuff was great. I just thought when it got into the tentacle stuff, I was like, okay, that's a little bit like regenerating tentacles and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know. Like I had a hard time wrapping my head around it. I could see how other people thought it was cool, but like I said, for me, it's like Grievous is so much the main star that with him is, as enjoyable as he is, I feel like I was almost kind of just waiting for Grievous to show up, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Well, I admit it took a rewatch for me to really fall in love with it, but it was just that I don't know, it's just really just kind of like the lodge just kind of hits you like, oh my god, this guy really is a tough customer. My god, like look at him. He's got like a chain mace. He's got shields. He got flames. It's pretty cool.
Uh,
All right, let's see. So let's talk some Anakin. How do we feel about the rendition of Anakin Skywalker in this?
yeah, it's interesting because I feel like in in the second set of episodes, I feel like he's super duper compelling. Like way compelling. However, in the first set of episodes, I feel like he's, I don't know, like maybe like mildly more tolerable than he was in Attack of the Clones.
You know what's weird about that? So we had so Matt Lanter does the voicing in the CG Clone Wars much, and again he's the latter one in the second part you're talking about, which again is a lot better. But we have Matt Lucas. Of course, he does the voice throughout the our 2D Clone Wars here. So Matt Lucas,
it's not like George's nephew or something.
I tried to confirm that, but I don't think so. I think it's purely coincidental. But if anyone knows something, Atomic Beast, if you know, by all means, tell me. I couldn't verify. I think it's just a small world coincidence, like Lucas Valley Road, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so Matt Lucas does the voice of Anakin here, and he's
just to clarify with the Lucas Valley Road thing. So he, because I drive by Lucas Valley Road all the time. So he bought the ranch on Lucas Valley Road just for the name, or did it happen to be on Lucas Valley Road?
What happened was he was choosing between two plots of land to build Skywalker Ranch, and basically it was someone had informed me of the could have had a V8 moment of like, well, one's on Lucas Valley Road and the other one's wait. Go for the one on Lucas Valley Road. What's wrong with you?
I love that. That's great. Yeah, because when I was a kid, I always just assumed that they named that street after him. But
no, but it called to him though. It was destiny. It called to him. All right, so what was I good? All right, here's the thing. So Matt Lucas though, it very much captures the whiny Episode 2 Hayden Christensen performance, but again,
absolutely like. Too much so.
Dragon. I know. Again, it was it was perfect, but perfect in the wrong way. But
Master Obi-Wan.
See what I kind
of trust me. Why can't you?
I kind of wish we could have, like, again, serendipity's sake here, obviously this would never be able to happen, if we could have got Matt Lantern to be him in the second part and get this, and so he grew up and it became awesome.
Right.
Master, why don't the Jedi trust me?
Oh God, yeah.
Why can't I lead an army?
It's too similar to Hayden.
But again, it's kind of it's what's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, I guess.
Yeah, it's a double-edged lightsaber. Yeah. Anyway, so
I like thoroughly. I think that Anakin in the second string of episodes is awesome, but we'll get there.
Sure. But I mean, I do like story-wise I love story-wise what we do with Anakin. So I want to be very clear. That's I think it's one of the biggest feathers this thing had. I keep using that analogy too much, but I really like it. So I love seeing him go from Padawan to Knight, which we did not see. Again, he shows off some piloting skills, which we know he's really good at. We even have a fun nod to the whole "I have you now," which is really
yes. I'm glad you brought that up.
One nitpick, though, we make a whole bit about it, which makes me even more mad about it. Okay, so Anakin, he's got the scar that we have in Revenge of the Sith, and we draw attention to it, but we don't see him get it. Why?
Yeah, we don't see him get it. Yeah, I agree. That did throw me off. I was like, I was literally like at first like, wait, did I miss something?
And here's the thing: from what I hear, he's supposed to get it in a fight with Ventress, and we saw a fight with Ventress. Why
that's weird. That's weird.
Like, come on! I don't care if it's like on a kids' network, we can't have him be scarred in the face, but I mean, come on!
I mean, at least like imply it, imply it off screen or something, like cut to a shadow or something. I don't know. I mean, they aired Samurai Jack. I'm sure that has some violence in it.
Anyways, I imagine the laser complicates things.
So the first part of it is mostly just like, oh, I'm sorry, Master. I'm going to disobey your orders now. Oh, let me guess. Master Obi-Wan sent you. Well, fine. You can be on lookout. It's like what he's doing is fine. He's basically just, oh, God. Who's even tailing Dragon? I forget. He's tailing Ventress, right?
Yeah, the idea is that Ventress has lured him into a trap.
Right. So it's like the whole time, it's almost kind of redundant, right? Because the whole time you're just like, Obi-Wan's right, Anakin. This isn't a good idea, buddy. I don't know. So I really just think, unfortunately, Anakin's story in the first two is kind of a wash. Like, I think the next batch of episodes more than makes up for it, but
I mean, I gotta be honest though. I mean, I think the payoffs to these Anakin stories are great. I mean, particularly even in the first half, I guess love that showdown with Ventress. It is beyond awesome.
It is a good action scene for sure.
I mean, it's the action, but also like the big kind of story turning point there for him too. Like, I'm just the talk. Let's just jump to it. Right
oh
here.
yeah, no, Anakin. You're right. Yeah. So
let's just talk about Anakin's arc overall, just mainly to that point. So it's again, I think the strongest element, along with fleshing out kind of our characters like Grievous and Windu, who we're going to get to. Anakin versus Ventress it's this trap that's been laid by the Sith, and also where it takes place, right?
Where?
This is really cool. It takes place on Yavin 4. It's on exactly where the Rebel base is.
Oh, that's really cool. Oh, that's awesome.
That's what I'm saying.
That's really cool. Yeah.
There's a lot of great kind of generational foreshadowing in that fight. And that's what I love. So we're on Yavin 4 during this. And again, it's the idea this is the trial of the two reckless Padawans, or at least the reckless Padawan and Anakin, are rooting that out of him as he's kind of trying to make the transition from Padawan to Jedi Knight. And again, this basically, let's give Anakin Skywalker a Samurai Jack battle that determines his destiny in a big way. And, it's... and again, we have so many great touches. Like, my favorite detail in the whole thing, I love that we see Ventress, with their twin kind of Sith lightsabers, and it's raining during this fight. You see the steam.
I love the rain. Oh God! Oh, we need that in live action, Dragon.
Yes, we do. I mean, in Mando, I could see it happen. If we have any more Jedis or the Ahsoka show. Let's do it in the Ahsoka show, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The
lightsaber in the rain effect is awesome. And of course, we never do this because it's really difficult to do without CG, just making it look not great. But so it's anyway, I love that we thrust him in the climax of the fight is my favorite part. So we thrust him into the Luke position in Return of the Jedi, which is basically Luke's serial. We mirrored the same exact bit here, where he's giving into anger, though, where he's thrashing with the lightsaber on top of her lightsabers, like bang bang, and he's giving into the anger, and he doesn't stop though, like Luke does, and. When he's coming, remember when he comes down on those blows, you see the really great colored flashes that match their respective lightsabers to all of his masters in the past, to Qui-Gon Jinn, to Yoda, to Obi-Wan. And then she just goes down. Like, the force of his anger is sending her down. It's like great.
Yeah, for sure. And really quick, just to address Atomic Beast, he said, at first, I think Anakin was complaining too much, but after showing his impressive skills in space, I can understand he's frustrated. And yeah, I can get it. Like, from a motivation writing standpoint, I can get it. Like we said, I honestly just think the problem is that vocally he sounds too much like Hayden Christensen, which is like a catch-22 unto itself, right?
Yeah. But again, just seriously, I just love situationally that he's been faced with the exact same thing that Luke will get to later, and just basically like having the opportunity to destroy a Sith, being his father, and taking the place of the Emperor. And he does not do it. And we're in this case, this is the perfect way of Anakin. He hasn't killed Dooku yet because we gotta save that for the movie. We can't kill Dooku yet. But by the same, this is like a perfect situation where Anakin, he's just taken on Ventress, but he still gave into his anger, which is kind of a no-no with the Jedi, and again, it sent her to an ambiguous death. So he kind of was able to go too far without officially going too far, and it just sets him on the path that we know he's going to end up on. Where that primal scream, like that's not a whiny scream. That's a scream of like
Okay, you're right. That scream is kind of like almost him shedding his hate in it.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. That whole sequence, I think that's the best part of the whole Clone Wars for me. If I really going back to it, is like that sequence it conveys so much with the arc and the characters, like the whole purpose of why you want this supplementary kind of show. They help you transition that arc between movies and kind of pick up the legwork that we're going to be lacking in a little bit in either or.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the knighting ceremony is really nice when he becomes a Jedi.
I'm sure they've probably done it in Clone Wars. but that's the first time I've seen an actual Jedi knighting ceremony, so that was really cool for
Just
me.
in the darkness with the lightsabers and basically
Uh-huh.
Yoda. It's literally a knighting ceremony. It makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, it
Yeah,
makes so much sense. Yeah.
and we in the
I love
same
that the little
motion.
ponytail thing actually has a symbolic meaning now.
Yeah, and I love that he gave it to Padme. Speaking of which, I want to talk about Padme. So I'm a sucker for more so in the latter one, but even here as
I've
well.
heard really good things about Padme in the Filoni verse.
That's the thing for me. So I want to be very clear. Post episode 2, so I'm not lumping any episode 2 stuff in there, like the beginnings, the courtship, none of that.
Uh-huh.
But everything after the I do's at the end of Attack of the Clones, I'm a sucker, sappy as it says. I'm a sucker for the Anakin Padme secret marriage. I think it's sweet as all can be. I'm especially in the Filoni Clone Wars. It's so darn. It's minimal, but every time it happens, like, oh, you're rooting for these two crazy kids. Unfortunately, she's gonna get strangled by the Force and all gonna go belly up.
Oh God.
But seriously though, it's like these moments are so cute, and like that secret marriage, man, it's charming as all get out to me.
Yeah,
That
totally.
was cute.
But no, Padme doesn't get a lot in this, but what she does get, it's great fun. Like you already mentioned, probably her best moment with the 3PO decoy thing.
Yeah. Speaking of which, that whole thing, like she went on an adventure with Yoda. She helped Yoda's bacon out of the fire, which by the way, just one of the funniest moments in the 2D Clone Wars. Yoda doing the Jedi mind trick in which he did not do it well.
Yes.
Which really, it makes so much sense when you really think of it. Yeah, if Yoda has to speak like that, he would not be able to do the Jedi mind trick well at all. Just basically getting the senator to come along.
Oh, by the way, there's not a sighting of Jar Jar in this anywhere, right? Because I was looking for him.
No Jar Jar at all.
Yeah, I was like, is he gonna slip a cameo in there?
That's got to be Tartakovsky being the Star Wars fan, just realizing, yeah, we don't.
Dragon, you know me, Dragon. The age of Jar Jar Binks is coming, my friend. He will get his redemption.
I'm sure. Look, with Filoni in charge. By the way, just a little congratulatory. Filoni's in charge now, officially.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes, overdue, but thank God. So just to be clear, Dragon, because I don't know the ins and outs of that. Is he taking Kenny's spot, or like is
his
he in a
title?
position?
I got to check what Kenny's position officially was, but essentially, I'm pretty sure his title specifically was Chief Creative Director.
Okay.
Now, and essentially, from the sound of things, he was operating in this position. Everyone now knows about it. So he was already, they were kind of pushing around and putting.
It makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, he really is just like the godfather of Star Wars.
And again, he's George Lucas's Padawan, very literally. He trained at the Sea of the Master through the Clone Wars that Lucas was
it's almost perfect.
It's wonderful.
All right.
So let's see. Trying to think of some. Oh yeah, well, let's talk about the Grievous and the Windu. We already talked some Grievous. Let's talk about the Mace Windu of it all in conjunction with Grievous's buildup.
Yeah. Mace definitely has. I feel like pretty much everyone here is in top form, including Mace. Of course, Mace is going to be big in episode 3, so it's kind of. I feel like it's appropriate that they build him up, and I especially like the irony that Mace was ultimately the one who sent in the distress call to rescue Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Dragon, I don't know about that. Like, I've heard these mumblings of like Mace is alive, but I'm like, okay, whatever. He's dead in my head canon. But
really,
yeah, my head canon.
I'm just saying. I like that we always have
out of a window in Coruscant, Dragon. There's no bottom in Coruscant.
Well, Luke did it.
Anakin, you mean?
No. I mean, no. What I'm saying is that Luke, he survived getting his hand cut off and survived the Great Fall.
Okay,
he wasn't struck by lightning, though. You're right about that. He wasn't hit by force.
He wasn't struck by lightning, and also he had something to hold on to.
What I'm saying is, we saw. Look, I don't want to belabor this point, but we saw Obi-Wan Kenobi jump out of a window on Coruscant, and he landed on stuff below him. I think,
all right, whatever.
Look, all I'm saying is, like, we've talked about like some Vader fan. Yeah, we talked about the Vader fan film where pretty much the next stage is like, hey, Mace is alive, which I mean, I'd say it's possible. I'm not,
Okay.
I'm saying,
I mean,
if
don't get
any,
me wrong. If it happened, I wouldn't be opposed.
like
To
I could,
it,
I'm not saying we necessarily need this, but I could see like if we wanted to bring like an older Mace Windu back in Mando, who
yeah,
knows?
I feel like age-wise, that would pretty
Yeah,
much line up.
assuming he survived the fall. Which, again, he's a master Jedi. It could happen. I mean, Obi-Wan.
Sam Jackson's like, of course I survived a fall, motherfucker. Who do you think I am?
Yeah. But no, seriously, just on Mace Windu, he's beyond awesome in this. Really, he is. I love that. This whole thing seems to be designed in part to capitalize on his basically his awesome factor in
Like,
this
hey
is
guys, did you not realize how cool the character Mace Windu was? Because he had some cool moments in Attack of the Clones, but yeah, just in case you didn't realize it.
yeah, it's like we're trying to capitalize on the fact that hey, we've given this guy pivotal moments. We're building to some pivotal. He's going to be there during the big turning point for Darth Vader,
Uh-huh.
and also he killed Boba Fett's father. That's pretty awesome. Why don't we do anything with that?
Right, yeah.
And basically, he was the most Samurai Jack-esque character in this whole thing, which was all of his action sequences were taken like just legions of separatist, droids and battle droids and everything. Like my favorite thing, I love the Force punches. I love that we rarely do we see Jedi's punch people. Mace Windu punches the
crap out of stuff all throughout this.
And when he does like the punch with the Force, that's even better. And again, he's doing like these giant Samurai Jack leaps, like jump good leaps, if you will. And he's, it's just like giving his all as a Jedi Master. Like when he's going after Palpatine, basically before he's going to have to make that call for Episode 3, he's going to bite him in the butt in the end, as we know. Like he's giving his all to go after Grievous, and I love seeing that. Like he's jumping as high as he can, but he's deflecting the blast, and of course the big moment. Yet again, we give Mace Windu another awesome moment, and the litany of really cool moments we gave him in this. The big moment, he crushed Grievous's lungs. He gave him the eternal bronchitis.
That's something I really wish I would have seen going into Revenge of the Sith. Because I got to admit, Dragon, the thing that really threw me off about Grievous, like, as cool as his design was, and as cool as his fighting style was, man, outside of him just running away like a little bitch from time to time, he is just, like, I could not get intimidated by the whole, like, asthmatic thing. And I was like, what are you trying to do, Lucas? Like out Vader?
Well, it's like a foreshadow of Vader, I think.
I guess, but I don't know.
By the way, that is George Lucas.
In this context, though, Dragon changes that. I mean, in this context, it's awesome.
I love that he was quite cocky too. That makes it even worse that he can't talk. He can barely talk anymore. Again, he was overconfident in a moment. But yeah, actually, the bronchitis, all the coughs and everything, it's George Lucas's bronchitis.
Is it really?
Yeah, in Episode 3,
How did I not know that?
All the coughs and wheezes, that's George Lucas's bronchitis that he had.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and also, just so you know, again, that was it's the one thing that prevents, that's the one, hink in the chain, if you will. Because again, like in Clone Wars, Grievous sounds like that, way before this encounter would have happened.
Oh yeah.
So that's the thing. That's the double-edged sword. As cool, that's the one thing that
his
prevents.
Voice is very distinctly different.
Yeah, because again, they didn't. I don't know. It's the one difference. But if you look past it, because I would never want to outright this moment, because this moment's beyond awesome. Because you have to have this moment.
Sure.
But I just basically take it and put it towards the earlier part of things. I mean, when it came across him, and then he did the same thing. But that's headcanon. It was, again, situational. All right, so Grievous, though, Grievous, very intimidating build-up for the imposing general. Again, the lightsaber trophy angle is really great and really creepy.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that is honestly my favorite part of him, even from Revenge of the Sith, was lightsaber trophies. But yeah, it's cool to see the starting point here.
Yeah, if I recall, we see him kill the 4 Jedis for at least 3 or 4 of the lightsabers that he has.
I think so. Yeah, it's pretty much just a clean sweep of I have my weapons for the next movie now.
And again, we build him up such as the unstoppable. He just keeps coming for Palpatine by the end of the second. He's you think you have him, but he just keeps on coming, and it just leads to the top of Episode 3, just very, very flawlessly. And I love 2 things. We had the hologram reveal for him. We were doing little Obi-Wan's talking to a Jedi who's basically being hunted down by Grievous, and then of course we reveal Grievous via the hologram.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, lastly, I forgot. I love the detail that Count Dooku helped train Grievous with the lightsaber, and like he gave him that lesson in fear, which basically leads to the ending of like him going after like being unstoppable and tracking down Palpatine because of what Dooku taught him. Like you got to instill fear. That's how you beat the Jedi, and of course he did that, and that's how he won.
Sure.
Awesome. All right, so let me. I guess the last thing, one of the last, some unflattering things I got left here.
Okay.
I hated the bug scene.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the nature of some of these micro series is that there are going to be like different side quests that just don't land with you.
It's a shame because I love the trench warfare idea. I like that, you know, as we see, you know, Anakin and Obi-Wan bonded through war times as Anakin's grown up and become less whiny.
Like how they always talked about in the movies but never actually showed.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we see like, you know, I love them like it's raining out and there's kind of like a cozy sort of like, you know, it's raining and we're kind of stuck in this miserable situation. We're kind of chatting and just kind of hanging out. I wish we did not have bugs in that scene. Like Anakin's eating bugs like a slob. But taking that out of the equation, it's a nice like. I love Obi-Wan's like Obi-Wan's going to do whatever's asked him, but he just hates like waiting in the rain.
Yeah.
And so the whole Nelvin Spirit Quest mission.
Melvin, brother of the Joker. Saw that coming.
Anyways, the whole Nelvin with an N.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's I was not crazy about this, or at least I wasn't crazy about. I think we went
conceptually. I like it.
Yeah, conceptually. This is where I think we went too sci-fi.
Oh, really? That's where you think you went. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, this is what I was hinting at earlier.
Okay, so conceptually I like it just because I feel like it sort of builds on, you know, on that iconic scene from Empire, which is of course one of the more high concept scenes in any Star Wars movie. So yeah, I can see how you know, it is high concept for sure.
But I agree with you. I think the setup in that, you know, I love taking this
the whole idea that Qui-Gon would have been a better master.
Yeah, and seeing like the little flash of like Qui-Gon Jinn, like had he been able to fully train young Anakin, you know, like the whole you go into the Dagobah swamp and doing like a spirit quest there, and again using that as a foreshadow as kind of a foreshadowing payoff with the whole Darth Vader destiny of it all here. Remember, he goes on a spirit quest and he finds like the cave, you know, the hieroglyphics on the wall, and he sees the Darth Vader mask. Like that, I like that aspect of it. I really do. I like how we connected all that, and the idea that this whole, you know, it's just the mission itself. Like we go to like Grievous's base where we have like kind of these, just by happenstance, we have these mutated natives. That whole story. We have like an iRobot finale where he's jumping and breaking the hand to turn off the, you know, to save everyone. It's a little, I don't know.
I didn't like the native plot. I'll agree with you.
That's what I'm saying. The native plot is what taints it.
I felt like it was just kind of like a very stock Star Wars plot, if that makes sense.
I agree. Exactly. It just feels like we're building to all this awesome stuff at the end. Like it's going to take us right into the movie.
Right, exactly. Like to me, it almost kind of felt like this is a timely reference, but it almost felt like the side mission to Mars in Invincible.
Sure, like not bad, but do we need it like necessarily in the flow of our story? Yeah, probably not.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, like the whole like the sci-fi angle, particularly how we go like uber monstrous with our natives. I think that's a little, I don't know. I think as you said, it's a little high concept. It's a little next. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like something we usually see in Star Wars. You know. The big thing though is what we get from all this. Like one, we have the hand upgrade, which I think was cool, and I love the detail, by the way, that Anakin built his own hand. That's really cool. I love Anakin the builder.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad. Yeah, that is a cool thing to bring back. That's one of the more low key parts of his personality from. You know, everyone always jokes about like, and he built C-3PO, and I'm like, yeah, because he's handy. He also built his own pod racer.
I've always liked that he built C-3PO idea personally.
It's a little bit of a reach, but it's like his memory could be wiped. It's not a big deal.
And I love like there's this low key. I don't know if like I think one of the not like I don't know which expanded universe comic. I don't know if it was after Disney or before Disney, but there's a comic where you see a moment from Empire Strikes Back where Vader saw the remains of C-3PO, and to save C-3PO, he said they put in the dungeon with the rest of them. Because again, he recognized it was C-3PO and he cares about him. It's like, give it to him.
Sure.
Anyway, regardless of the big takeaway I do have is I love how the thing ends, like right before the big link up happens, where after seeing the premonition yet again he kind of sees the Darth Vader mask kind of form for a moment, and he hears the breathing and such. Obi-Wan has this great moment with him where he sees that Anakin's been affected by this mission. And he tells me, decisions shape destiny, which obviously is going to be very big on everything that Anakin's come across with the whole Ventress affair and this, and of course the big like kill and Count Dooku onward. What's going to happen in Episode 3? So I love just giving those two that last moment before everything goes off the rails. I really love that.
Yeah, it's literally seeing like the last adventure before everything went to hell. So yeah.
It was a wonderful button to put on things, I felt.
Sure.
All right, let's see. Okay, we have some comments. Let's read those real quick. Let's see. We have a lot of Grievous talk.
Yeah, Grievous is one of the best villain introductions, and I agree, Atomic Beast. And like I said, I honestly think it's just to reiterate, I do think it's ahead of its time to do something like this way back in 2003, 2004, building up to a movie that was a year out. Because Marvel is obviously doing the whole building stuff up, but man, it's like this is like WandaVision tying into Multiverse of Madness like decades before that. It's almost kind of mind blowing, Dragon.
Oh yeah.
All right. Then we got Outbound. Grievous in 2003 effortlessly dominates a fight against 6 Jedi and an LAAT gunship. Grievous in 2008, beat by Gungans.
God. Anyway, I can see where Outbound's leaning between the two shows, I think. But
was he really beat by Gungans in the Clone Wars?
I'm just saying, the idea is like Grievous, if you do a villain, not necessarily like a new villain a week, but I'm saying if you have like a recurring villain, you're going to have to throw a lot at him between 7 seasons. So I'm sure at some point he went up against the Gungans and probably had to lose. But again,
poor Grievous.
Again, the Feloni Clone Wars was operating with the cowardice thing in mind, because basically, remember, the problem is Anakin Skywalker can't go up against General Grievous. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. It's like, it was Anakin Skywalker can't go up against General Grievous for the entirety of that show.
Outbound confirms that, he did go up against Gungans.
Yeah. So that was the thing. They were basically Grievous had constraints because of the Episode 3 thing, and sometimes I guess that's probably kind of what ended up happening there. Well, there's one thing I got left.
Grievous is the one bad part of the Clone Wars even fans agree on.
I don't think he was all that bad, but he definitely, if you compare Menace, I mean, let's be honest, nothing's going to be.
I mean, it kind of this is like prime Grievous, I would say, right? Is that fair to say?
I think that's absolutely fair to say. I mean, the cool factor is that with the CG, it looked very much pretty identical to how he was in the,
sure,
in the movies, which was cool. And also, they gave him good build up towards. I think Grievous was stronger towards the start of Clone Wars, before he became just kind of like, well, we can't do stuff with Grievous until the movie, so we're just kind of stuck with Grievous. that was kind of Grievous.
Never good. That is never a good sign with a TV character when you're just stuck with them.
That's the thing. They never knew how long they were going with Clone Wars. I'm convinced, and I think that was the problem with Grievous. So Grievous suffered. Yeah, Grievous unfortunately suffered the most out of any of the characters there for that reason. But we give him there's one really great Grievous episode at the top of season 1 where Grievous is basically a bunch of Jedi are stuck in essentially Grievous's castle or where his base is, and like Grievous's home. And it's like they're all trapped. It's like a very haunted house sort of episode. That's
the thing. I mean, I do feel like Grievous does operate at his best when he's in kind of like horror movie slasher villain mode.
Yeah, so that's a great. For example, that's a great example. I'm just saying, after that's a season 1 sort of thing. But after that, that's when we start to kind of we have Grievous and he's the general who's leading the cause. So basically, so long as Grievous is around, the war goes on. So we can't take out Grievous. That's the problem.
Cool.
All right, so I got one thing to bring up, Star Wars. I think we'll have covered the gambit on everything.
Yeah, go for it.
Master Luminara. We see the lightsaber construction, which is really cool, and I want to say the first time we've done something like that. We were on Ilum, the place where they keep the lightsaber crystals. So basically, the Jedi's go there to get the kyber crystals, and they construct their own lightsabers. So we kind of had that with Luminara's in the poster. She's the one under Yoda.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And if I recall, I could be wrong. I believe Luminara is Kanan's master from Rebels. The Freddie Prinze Jr. Jedi.
Yeah, it felt a little side questy. I'm not gonna lie, but the mythology was interesting.
Yeah.
So,
okay, all right. Unless there's anything else I'm missing, Tiki, by all means. I think we've covered the gamut.
I think we're good.
All
right. So yeah, I mean, I do very much need to watch Feloni Clone Wars. I really do. It's absolutely like on my list of things to watch. It's a little bit intimidating, Dragon. I really don't want to do your suggestion of just jumping into season 7 as much as I'm tempted.
Well, I want you to watch it all the way through, Tiki. I'm just saying, if you're saying I don't know if I'm going to watch it, period, I'll take 7 onward if that's what it's going to take.
But I do want to be committed to watching it all the way through, Dragon. I really do. But it's just obviously going to be kind of a process. But as for this though, I mean, it really does kind of like the word I have for it. I keep going back to is just kinetic. Dragon. It really is with the animation style, with just that distinct look and how fluid the action is, and like I said, it just there's good trackers. Tiki, let me send you something. Trackers for what? Do you know what he's talking about, Dragon?
I'm not quite sure. I mean, I wonder if by trackers he means there's some kind of good go-to episodes. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of the completionist when it comes to shows. So it's like if I'm going to watch it, I'm going to watch it.
Well, I recommend watching all of it, but that's
yeah.
But let's say in your case, all of it post the movie, the three kind of the pilot movie, which obviously you're not really.
Oh, I'm not going to go back and watch the movie. Oh God.
Oh, basically trackers and how to watch.
Oh,
basically kind of like
how to watch.
Like a roadmap, pretty much. I assume the best episodes, but like with the necessary episodes. But
again, is it like does it skip episodes outbound? Because if it does, I'm not really interested. But if it's just kind of like a better order to watch them in, then I am interested.
Oh, you know what? You might be my trackers. I think by trackers he means like chronologically, the order wise, just in terms of between this and that. If you wanted the full link up, I'm interpreting that. Maybe that's what he means.
I don't know, man. I think I'm just gonna stick with however they're. I think I'm just gonna skip. However, I think I'm just gonna go with however they're laid out on Disney Plus. But thanks though. But yeah, I mean, this really does kind of fire on all cylinders, and Grievous is just a great introduction. And like I said, Dragon, it really is just kind of like outside the box thinking in 2003 to be like, hey, we're gonna do like a little micro series, and it's gonna be like an hour long, but there's gonna be like 20 episodes. And we're gonna build up the big bad in the third movie, but only people who have watched, 3 seasons of this are really gonna know who the big bad is. It really is crazy. Just how ballsy that was back in the day, Dragon. I really don't think that gets enough credit.
I think you're absolutely right. We don't. Yeah, right. Final thoughts from me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, these are absolutely the building blocks for how we get a show like the Feloni Clone Wars. This is absolutely invaluable. I think there are story moments that are very strong here, particularly with the Anakin Skywalker stuff here. The action is wonderful. Again, a lot of things are set up and paid off really well, just in kind of terms of kind of keying things up for those big story moments. Like again, the Grievous of it all, just like the menace that's built up, and of course like how awesome Mace Windu is, and of course when Mace Windu goes up against Grievous very briefly, it's like a lung crush moment. That's awesome. But you're absolutely right, Tig. These micro series, they don't happen these days. We're not as lucky to get this today. So it makes this really stand out. It makes it something special. I mean, I wouldn't trade for my Clone Wars series, but
this is Over the Garden Wall, Dragon.
That's what yeah. It's like, can you really think of any other examples, right?
I mean, arguably Infinity Train.
Well, I don't know. Come on, that's not. These were like less than 10 minutes.
I'm just saying, as far as runtime goes.
I'm saying even runtime. These episodes were like up to 3 to 4 minutes.
Well, technically, the third run, the episodes were 12 minutes apiece. Technically.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right about it. It started off briefer, and then you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the first season was shorter, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
And anyway, so at the end of the day, I wouldn't trade. I don't know if I'd trade for the Clone Wars series. I've kind of spent 7 seasons with, but this is very, very solid, and it's very good stuff. And again, stuff that very much. I mean, even the good thing, if you took this into this is very digestible, and people can watch this and go into those. You go into the Star Wars movies very easily, and I can see it. When the time these came out and the time these were kind of threaded through the movies, these were very, very eye catching and very like, ooh, what is this? And like, oh my god, I'm so hyped to watch Revenge of the Jedi. I mean, after you watch this thing, don't you kind of want to go back to Revenge of the Sith?
I mean, it's got that Rogue One effect, right? Where it's like, after you watch Rogue One, you want to go back and watch A New Hope, and this does the same thing for sure.
Yeah. So good stuff.
So, Dragon Guy, we still got a fan film or two to talk about on the horizon here with Star Wars. In May and, of course, in June, just kind of teeing it up, we're going to do our Spielberg month because it's loosely associated with Lucas. Yeah, so teasing it up there, folks. Really heavy-hitting bottom of the barrel Spielberg fare there.
Well, way to dress it up, Tiki, but yeah.
I'm just saying. All right, Dragon, give us some final words.
But Master, I hate sand.
Master, why do I have to go on the sand planets?